Hello, I'm Ron Daly here with The Daily Show, and I am talking with Michelle Miller, who teaches the grades K through 6 at LBJ and Breathitt County. And what are some of the other duties that you have, that some of the students that you teach?
I teach profoundly disabled children
Uh-huh.
with multiple disabilities. So just on a daily basis, I may have work with a student that has maybe a mild mental disability all the way up to severe, not only cognitive, but physical
Okay.
disabilities as well.
And so you applied for an innovation grant, which you have received. You'll be presenting on that a little bit later on. So how did you come up with that idea, and then what are you going to do in your classroom?
Well, I'm going to be receiving the swivel cam, which I already received. The grant is geared toward a flipped classroom.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think my flip is going to be, now that I've gotten the swivel cam and the iPad to record and things, I think with my students that, as with anything, it's changed a little, and maybe the flipped classroom is not necessarily going to be flipped from classroom to home, but it's going to be from the general education curriculum to my resource room. A lot of my students don't have internet access at home
Okay.
and things like that, so they're not going to be able to access the holler. So I think that my version of a flipped classroom will be simply I have grade levels K through 6. I have kindergartners, and I have second graders, and I have third graders at the moment. So what my plan is to take the swivel cam and the iPad to the regular education teacher and say, okay, record the lessons at the kindergarten level, and then the second grade level, and the third grade level, and then we're going to bring those lessons into my classroom via the holler, and the students can individually, at the same time though, access their lessons.
Okay.
So I think that's how it's going to turn out. As with anything, my vision changed. It was going to be, they're going to do this at home and do blended learning at home, but I think the blended learning is going to have to happen at school.
Well, and Michelle, and then that's what's great about innovation and then adapting the change, because as Breathitt County, unfortunately, has one of the lowest percentages of broadband in the state of Kentucky. And so that will be changing, but until it changes, I think that's wise of what you're doing. Now, you're using that term flipped classroom. Why don't you, for our general public, describe what is the concept of a flipped classroom?
A flipped classroom is kind of just as blended learning. They're kind of similar. The students can access any lessons that may be done during the school day at home. They can use them for preview, some lessons, what may happen the next day, to kind of have a heads up, or they can do it for review. Maybe the daily lesson that they had, they go home and they say, their parents may say, okay, what did you do in class? And some kids, I don't know. Well, let's go to the holler and we'll see what you did today, so they can review. And then they can also do it as a form of catch up at home, where if they on home hospital, or they've missed a day, or they're out for the flu, they can actually receive the lesson at their computer desk at home if they missed the school day. So that's kind of the idea of the flipped classroom.
How are the students responding to what you're doing?
So far, we just got our stuff in last week, so they love the idea of it all, and they love that I even include them in a lesson, and they loved it. They were more involved, and they feel like they had ownership. They were in that video, and they wanted to review it, which, whether they realize it or not, that's repetitiveness, which is actually, helping them retain it a lot better than just one lesson. So they're like, I want to watch what we just did, Miss Miller. So they're getting multiple, chances to receive that curriculum, and they don't think I'm beating a dead horse, as they say. It's in a different way to them. They're seeing it again, but I guess it's different for them to watch it back. And they love it. They loved it.
So, Michelle, how long have you been teaching, and why did you want to become a teacher?
I've been teaching almost 5 years, and teaching found me. I didn't find it. I was actually pursuing a counseling degree, a human services and counseling degree, and I was almost finished with my bachelor's degree, and I started substitute teaching for just extra income on my days off, and I realized that I really, really loved it, and I didn't want to didn't want to quit the course I was on, so I finished my degree in counseling through Lindsey Wilson, and then I enrolled in the MAP program for special education, and I received a dual master's for learning
Okay.
behavior disorders and functional mental disorders.
Yeah, and it seems like that background that you have in the counseling program through Lindsay Wilson has assisted you in your teaching
It
level.
has, yeah. It really has. It helps me have more patience and better understanding of behaviors and,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, you know, Michelle, you've raised a very important point, and we've got people around the world that are watching us throughout the state, throughout eastern Kentucky. But the reality is we need to have broadband fiber to every home so that every child will have that opportunity to do their homework there. And kudos to businesses like McDonald's that will have free Wi-Fi. And then, of course, you got your public libraries. You got other places where people can go. But especially when you have bad weather, it'll be great opportunities for kids to learn at home.
Instead of snow packets, we do snow packets.
Uh-huh.
We could do, you know, holler assignments, and they could
Yeah.
get on the holler and say, okay, your assignments will be there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great.
Okay. Well, Michelle, want to thank you for being on our program, and look forward to hearing your presentation a little bit later on.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.